but that's okay. Okay, this part here is it's quite interesting. A lot of people, a lot of you are young people, so it might you don't think about these things. I'm a little bit older, and I think about it as I've gotten older, but it's kind of interesting. When you're young, you think you're going to live forever, and you don't ever consider these things. But as you get older, one of the things I consider is what happens if I'm not here? Now, there's two things that there's a joke about it, right? There's um, if you're if you're dead or stupid, it doesn't hurt you, it hurts others, right? Because if I died tomorrow, I'm dead, right? So I have no more cares in this world. I'm on to the next world or my next life, depending upon which um, which religion I believe in. So it's not my problem. However, especially in the world of crypto, right? We've had 7 sessions. We talked about all different kinds of things. In the world of crypto, you are your own bank. There is no third party in charge that somebody can go to that third party. Like, for instance, regular assets. I have a bank account, I have an investment account, I have a will. My will says my wife gets everything, and my 10-year-old, if it happened tomorrow, he gets this, and my big son gets that. And if there's a bunch of money in the bank account, in the retirement account, in the investment account, property, what do? They take the will answer. And you also have to balance security and accessibility, thinking about the risks you actually face and how can you mitigate them. Okay, for instance, I have a friend, he's older than I am, and he's personally not a fan of hardware wallets. And I'll go through hardware wallets separately in a minute. I'll go on the internet and I'll show you live. He's not a fan of those. He's not even that big a fan of wallets on his phone. Even though we've had projects we've worked on together where we had to have wallets on our phones, and we did that. So he's not a big fan of those. So his personal solution to things was I have an account at Coinbase. I have an account at coins.co.th because he lives in Thailand. I have an account at KuCoin, and I don't know where his fourth account was. And I spread my crypto amongst those 4 accounts. Even though the fact that each of those things are centralized, he's not in direct control. He's happy because the chances of all 4 of those effectively exchanges going out of business at the same time is quite low. And the amount of crypto that he has relative to the rest of his wealth is such that if he lost 25%, it's not going to kill him. So when you're thinking about these things, when you think about security, so this is a little broader, think about easy use, think about risk versus security. We just have to think. No perfect process is guaranteed to work. It's true for everything, not just crypto. Even if you have a perfect plan, thorough plan, for some reason, your heirs may not be able to access it. And the key point here is the vast majority of people in the vast majority of situations with a well-designed, well-executed, current, tested access plan. This is an important point. Tested. When I show you the hardware devices, I talk more about the pure security aspects, and I talk about just using wallets. Test. Make sure whatever you've written down works. Test it out. And if you have all that, highly likely, if something happened to you, and forget inheritance even. What happens if just you were out of commission, you were in a coma, you got in a car accident, and for 3 months you couldn't do anything, and you had a bunch of money in crypto? Same thing applies. So if I look at this, I created this. Now I didn't. I updated this and created a new one. I created a newer version, so I've got more than 7 years. I have like almost 10 years experience. But this is based on current thinking that's in the market, all my years of experience, plus a lawyer who decided to get into crypto, wrote a really cool book. We have a whole section of a full course that on crypto that I do that teaches more than just this. The other point, none of this stuff is legal advice. It's a starting point. If you have any specific questions, go talk to a lawyer where you live who understands the law where you live. And if you're an expert, adjust it to reflect your level of expertise. But remember, now everybody is in a unique situation. My wife knows something about crypto. She has exchange accounts. She can do a lot of things, but she's not an expert using a Trezor or a Nano Ledger, one of the hardware devices. So I have to adjust for that. My 10-year-old, he's not capable yet. He's a whiz at games, but he's not a crypto kid. So again, all of us are in different positions. But the key is think about these things so people have access if anything happened to you. So this is called device independent strategy. This is important. You need to come up with a mechanism, and you need this for yourself. So this is more broad than just inheritance planning. This is more broad than that because you personally I have this phone, right? I have wallets on this phone. I have it all backed up. I have it all backed up, but you need access that is independent from the phone, independent from that little USB device. So very important. So this applies to you personally, because what happens if I lose my phone? It's almost the same thing. I lose my phone, the phone doesn't exist. No different than my phone disappears with me, or they don't know how to access my phone. So you back up the keys, the seeds, and codes on paper or some other standalone electronic media. Make sure assets can be recovered without direct access to my smartphone or my laptop. Now, many benefits to having this kind of a strategy, including one, maintaining your privacy. You also want to have a plan for recovery of the data on your devices and your X or Twitter account and Facebook, independent of crypto, but in terms of a comprehensive strategy to recover all stuff. Younger people, you don't think about this. But what happens and what important stuff do you have on your Instagram? In certain countries, TikTok, on your Facebook. What's important? What's on your laptop? What stuff are you working on that if something happened to your device, you need a way to recover it? Because recovering it the old fashioned way, which is like, oh, I'm really smart, I got to recreate all this stuff from scratch, not good. So you need to think about that. And this has got to be more than leaving passwords. And the very key point in crypto, especially, you need device independent recovery. You need a place to store either on a separate USB device, and I don't advise you putting things in the cloud too much, unless the amount you have relative to everything else you have isn't huge, because you do run risk because the cloud stuff can get hacked. Here's 6 beliefs that are in error. Number one, I have to hire a lawyer. Lawyers are important, but to figure out how to recover your crypto, you don't need a lawyer. Number two, you do not have to trust a third party. Number three, planning is going to make my assets easier to steal. No, planning and poor documentation and not splitting things up or not putting them in protected places is going to make them easier to steal. But not having a plan will virtually guarantee if something ever happens to you or your device that you're not going to be able to recover your crypto. Like I said, this applies to more than just the fact that if you're not here anymore. Look at the guy who had tossed out a computer that had a hard drive and it had $745 million worth of Bitcoin on it. And he was trying to get approval to dredge up the garbage dump in the UK, and he was never successful. That guy was probably wishing he had a device independent recovery plan for that wallet. All he needed was the 12-word seed phrase or the private key, and he could, who cares? He threw away the computer. With those things, you could just go to a new wallet, import your key, and boom, you got access in a new wallet. Another one, value of my crypto assets is too low to plan. Young people, think about this one. You see all these meme coins, you see all these coins with 1 trillion coins, 1 trillion tokens, and their value is 0.000004, and you buy a million of them. So you put $20 or $100, but you have a million of these tokens. And what happens? That token becomes $1. Now you paid $20 and you hit the jackpot and it became $1. So don't think that, well, yeah, I have a million, but it cost me $20 and it's worth 35 right now. Whoop-de-doo. What happens if in 5 years that one took off and it's all of a sudden worth $5 million? You'd sure be kicking yourself if you lost your device and you couldn't recover it. Last belief, my heirs, second to last, my heirs will figure it out. No, don't leave things to chance. Again, you're not going to be here, so it's not your problem. But again, if you potentially have hundreds of thousands or millions of dollars worth of crypto, you would want your loved ones to have that benefit. And the last one, this can all be done with a smart contract. Smart contract, you would have learned, is just software running on the blockchain. No, it can't all be done that way. There are things that can be done, and it's gotten better. But again, this whole device independent recovery mechanism is really important. First thing you got to do, make a plan. Write a basic plan for access to your crypto. Make it quick, make it easy. Don't worry if it's not complete. Bottom line, having something is sure better than nothing. Write it as a letter covering the basics. This is another important thing. If you know your family, you're young, but you have crypto, they're not crypto people, and something happened to you or you had a problem, who can help them? What other smart kid? What other smart kid that knows crypto can help your older parents who don't know crypto? Then where are the assets? Where's my Trezor? Where's my Nano Ledger S or X? Which devices are where? How can you find info? Also, it will caution them, do not trust one person. It's interim. Its intent is to provide something, not everything. Now, we could do a whole 4 hours on how to do all this, but I don't have the time to do it. But you can be curious. Other thing you can do is go into Google, go into ChatGPT, go into Gemini, go into